Hi, today I'm going to talk to you about some advanced funk technique in the style of Corey Wong. So unfortunately I didn't have a stripy shirt to wear like Corey Wong, so I went for polka dots today. Hope he doesn't mind. But today I'm going to first start off by showing you how to play that lick I was just playing. It's one that crops up in a lot of Corey Wong's videos online. And after I've showed you how to play it, then I'm going to talk about his left hand and right hand technique and how he uses these advanced techniques to make it sound funky like it does. So first thing we'll do is go to a close-up and I'll show you how to play the lick. Okay, so there's only 3 notes in this lick. The first one is we're holding down this chord dyad here on the 10th fret of the B string with your middle finger and the 11th fret of the E string with your ring finger. And we're alternating between that chord and this note here on the 9th fret of the A string. That's our F sharp. So we start off by playing the chord dyad with vibrato. And if we're doing a 16th note strumming pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, we catch the chord on the 1 and then strike it again on the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can keep your hand going the whole time just to keep the timing right. Like that. And then we basically alternate between that and the F sharp here on the A string. So after we've played that chord, and then move to the F sharp and the A string, and then we do 2 muted strums. And then from here we're playing a more standard funk rhythm. Still the same rhythm before on the 1 and the 4, except this time we don't let it ring out with vibrato, we just play muted stabs, like that. So we play the rung out vibrato chord once, and then we play the same rhythm with the muted short stabs on the chord 3 times. So 1 with it rung out, and 3 like this. Like that. So that was just very quickly how showing you how to play the lick, but now I'm going to show you how to make it funky the way Corey Wong does. Firstly, we have to talk about left hand technique, and this is one of the most important funk techniques to make it sound really funky that a lot of people don't actually know or realize, and it's called left hand damping. And what we do is when we play our chord, that's what it sounds like fully held in, and if I completely mute the strings, it sounds like that. What we're looking for is the exact middle point between the two, where you can hear the percussion of the muted strings, but you can also hear the notes. That's the sound we're looking for. So it's very, very precise, very, very funky. And how that applies to this riff is in all the short stabs of the chord, in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th parts of the riff, we're using that technique to dampen the notes. Like that. And also, this F sharp and the A string, we're damping that every time as well. So you get that kind of effect there. So you've got your left hand damping, you've got your string muting, and lastly is the real thing that makes Corey Wong as funky as he is his right hand. So to really make the damping work, you need to whip through the chord strikes. With your really loose wrist, you're kind of whipping through. It makes it much tighter, because if I was to do that in slow, like much slower, you can hear each muted string consecutively there. And it makes the sound much wider, takes up much more space. The idea of whipping the string through is it makes it much more precise. It sounds like they're all being struck in at the same time. So most funk players will use this technique of really loose wrist and whipping through any notes or the muted string strikes to really tighten things up and make it funky. The thing with Corey Wong though is he's got a bionic right hand, and rather than just using those whipped strikes for muted accents, he does it with every single stroke, which gives it that really heavy, precise, tight funk sound. He's a robot. So I can't play that way like him, where it's so precise and heavy and tight all the time. But if you go and listen to any of his videos and you hear him playing just his muted string strike, it sounds like a really heavy kind of knocking sound almost, like, as he's going through, and that's just because of no doubt years and years of practice at this technique, which is why he's so good at it. It means he's a force of nature when he plays this kind of style. But you can still use it just for the accent and get those really tight chord strikes the same way and still be really funky. One final note is that, as you can hear when I just played it there, I did almost no muted string strikes. That is generally what you're aiming for with funk playing. You want to be taking up as little space as possible, and really good funk playing is generally made up of lots of really simple, tight, separate parts that all go together to create a really funky whole. Now, whether you want to add the muted string strokes in or not depends on the part, how much space you have. Corey Wong, for example, does a lot of muted string strikes in his playing, but he's so tight and heavy with it, he can get away with it more. But there's also lots of playing that he does where he doesn't, he just plays the notes themselves. So it's up to you to listen, find your place in the song, and decide whether you want to use no muted string strokes, all muted string strokes the whole way through, or just one or two in there to accent it. You're going to have to figure that out for yourself in the part you're playing. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you next time.